Okay, I'm going to show you how to use Google Sheets to make a kind of a loan calculator so you can figure out when you buy a car how much you have to pay each month to pay it off. So you click the link in Canvas, which gave you a document that looks just like this. So you've got we have some things here, some things that you would need to know, like how much the car costs, how much you're going to pay as a down payment, how long the loan will last, and what your interest rate is. Those are all things that you would need to know about your loan. Then over here are all things that you would calculate, like, well, how much did I actually borrow? How much do I pay each month? And over the course of all my payments, how much money have I spent? So what we're going to do is, instead of doing the math ourselves, we're going to cheat and we're going to write a little computer program that will make the computer do the math for you. So here we go. I don't know if you've ever used spreadsheet software or not, but it's a pretty nice way to make computer programs. What we're going to do is we're going to end up writing equations, and instead of calling, it's kind of like math class, instead of actually using numbers, we're going to call those numbers by names, kind of like variables. Kind of like instead of saying 3,000, you might say X or Y. We're going to do that type of idea. So here we go. The amount that you borrow. So this is kind of visual. You have to make sure you get in the right spot. I'm going to click in this cell right here. This cell is what we would call E2, would be his name. I'm going to click in there. And instead of starting to type like a number, you're going to start by saying equals. When you type equals, that tells the computer that you're going to type an equation or a computer program and not an actual number. Now, here we go. You've signaled the computer that you want the computer to do math. Now, the amount that you've actually borrowed that you need to take the loan out from the bank would be, the rest of what you couldn't pay. So if the car cost, for example, $30,000 and you were able to pay $5,000, then there's $25,000 left over that you had to borrow. I do not want to type in $25,000. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell the computer what math to do to get that. So it's like just explaining your steps. But instead of saying 30,000, I'm going to call this cell by his name. This cell's name is A2. So here we go. Make sure you're in the right spot. I'm in this cell, right underneath the amount borrowed. I started with the equal sign. I want you to take A2. I want you to subtract. So that's how much the car cost overall. Then you want to subtract whatever your down payment was. But I'm not going to actually say the number. I'm going to call that number by his name. So the down payment is in B2. Then when you hit enter, it'll do the math for you. That math was because you said whatever's in A2 subtract whatever's in B2. Gorgeous. Here's what I want you to do. Pause me. I want you to go try to enter that formula into that cell. And then you'll have the amount borrowed. So pause and go do that. Okay, now you're back and you've got that there. You may be asking yourself, why would I type in that formula? I could just have done 25,000. This is amazing because with that formula right there, I could go change what's in this cell, like 35,000, right? Or maybe it was a $60,000 car. If it's $60,000, I paid $5,000 down, I still need to borrow this much money. So now this, I'm going to put it back to 30,000. But this is great because it will do the math for you no matter what. Amazing. One other thing that I love about writing formulas is you can then kind of copy this formula and borrow it. So if I wanted to do the same formula here, instead of me typing that, what I'm going to do is when I click on this cell, look at my cursor. See how my cursor changes as I move from the middle here to that little box? See how it changes to a crosshair? When it's in the crosshair like that, if I click and hold and drag down, then it will copy. It makes a change to that formula, but it does the same basic math. So my original formula is A2 minus B2. If I drag it down, it was smart enough to realize that I meant the next row, A3 minus B3, and so it does that math for that. So you could drag it as long as you want. Now, what I want you to do is make sure you've got your equation typed there. Make sure it's giving you the right answer, and you can drag it to copy it. And then we'll move on to the next video and we will move to the next column.